Hello, everyone. It's Nicole Galacci from FoodGrads, and I'm joined by Dr. Darin Detwiler from Northeastern University, and we're going to talk to you about starting a career in the food industry.
In this video, we're going to talk about social media presence and networking.
Darin, I see you're very active on LinkedIn, and so am I. And I see, in terms of your following, your engagement online, you have some wonderful followers. People really engage with you. What would your advice be to students and grads that perhaps don't have a professional online presence or have an online presence, perhaps not quite so professional? What's your take on that?
That's a great question. Um, I'm often asked about social media presence, and there's such a wide range of how people look at it. I actually know some people that have pretty high level positions in government that will do anything and everything they could in order to avoid having a Facebook or a LinkedIn or Instagram, Twitter, because they're afraid of saying something or coming across as something that would be criticized or would compromise the situation. And I never really thought too much about that until one friend of mine was going up for a really high, like would be in the White House
Hmm.
type position often. And she did get that job, but along the way, she actually had to create a LinkedIn profile and create a Twitter handle because the hiring process actually thought it was weird if she didn't have one
Yeah.
because anyone in this age group today, of course you have one. And if you say you don't, then you're lying.
Right.
That
You're
was their kind
hiding
of
something.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hiding something. Exactly. So I do think it's important to have for two reasons. One is just for networking. Um, and two is that idea of it's almost like a virtual extension of your resume.
Hmm.
I don't think that anyone's going to hire someone without doing a quick look on LinkedIn to see
Yeah.
what they can find about them, and then look at other places. I mean, you hear today about people who um, they're fired from a job because of some viral comment that they made on social media or
Hmm.
things of that nature. People do encounter that today where you're not being hired just on your resume and cover letter, but also on your social media presence. So
Well,
I
I
think
think
it's
it
very
exposes,
important.
yeah, I think it exposes who you are as a person because there's a pattern. It's not just one thing you put out, but if you consistently put out some sort of messaging, um, that's who you are. It comes through. I would add to that I think there are different reasons for the different social channels as well. I have a personal social media hat and I have a business hat, and they're not necessarily completely different. I use my Facebook is more for staying in touch with people from the UK and for other areas of the world, and it's about my kids and what I'm eating tonight, which I don't necessarily think people are that interested in. So I don't make it public, and I don't advertise for people to connect with me there if I'm working, from a professional standpoint. But I'm also as active on LinkedIn, which I do believe is the professional network. And I would say if you don't have a good LinkedIn profile, up to date picture, all the rest of it, and a good picture, a clear picture, not swigging a beer bottle, like it's got to be professional. Um,
My
then
favorite
that
is
speaks
when they're
volumes.
my favorite is when someone's LinkedIn profile there's three people and you're like, which one are you?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Or you're with your kids, and I think that's sweet, but I don't necessarily think that's the place for it. I think LinkedIn is people want to know about you, not your family. Maybe that's what Facebook is for. So I think truly understand what the different platforms are for. I think Instagram is amazing if you are looking to build a career around food, if you are choosing food and your culinary expertise, because that's really where people put their photographs and where you can really shine. And so again, it's an extension of your resume, and you can even refer to it on your cover letter or resume. I'm super proud of my blog, or I'm proud of the pictures that I have on Instagram. So I think understand what they're for. up to end, it keeps going and going. Snapchat, TikTok. I don't know anything about those ones, and I don't choose to. I've kind of made a decision that I think I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not very active on it from a business perspective. And Twitter, both personal and business, and LinkedIn and Facebook. And that's enough for me. I think you can go overboard as well. If you're really truly using it for a business perspective, for a professional perspective, get good on each platform as opposed to trying to be everything to everybody on 10 different platforms, and then it will dilute your message. So, I know that maybe is going a bit more on the business, but I think it's your personal branding. That's what it boils down to.
Well, I think you mentioned the idea of hats, and I think that that's exactly how I look at it in terms of, um, you know, for me, Facebook is about friends and family,
Hmm.
and me being a way of escaping and having fun, being silly, whatever, right?
Right.
But on LinkedIn, a because I'm associated with my employer,
Hmm.
I think about how I represent not only myself but also my university that I work for. Not that I went to school, not that I would want to be represent them badly, but because I work at a university, I don't just
Right.
represent myself. I represent my mission. I represent my future. Represent others in my field. I represent the people I work for and the people I represent. And I know that sounds like a lot of burden to carry on a shoulder, but when you start thinking of it like that in terms of who can be impacted by what you say or do on
Hmm.
that platform, and how are you perceived?
Yes.
I think about that in terms of the hat that I wear. I don't use Instagram or TikTok or a lot of different things. I do find that I use Twitter, but ironically, I was thinking about this not too long ago. I mostly use Twitter when I'm at events. Um,
Because it's on your phone and it's easy to,
Yeah, I'm at a conference, I'm at a
yeah.
thing, and I'm gonna, great thing was said on stage today, or great to have met up with my industry partners, or whatever. Great to represent my university here, that kind of stuff. Because I think of it in terms of I'm almost like I'm marketing. I'm trying to gain attention, whereas LinkedIn is I'm creating a persona, a perception, and so it's different hats, different functions
Mm.
in those different
Hmm.
platforms. But I think it's extremely important because a it's a two-way street. It's not just about you just putting yourself out there on this platform. You should be using, especially LinkedIn. There's other platforms as well. And did you know that LinkedIn turns 18 this year? And
That's
that,
crazy, isn't it?
yeah, LinkedIn also existed before Facebook.
Yes. I feel like I was one of the first on LinkedIn because as a recruiter, it changed. It was a game changer. So yeah, I was on there when it was like a few hundred people, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Well, it's weird to think that we have someone like me who's been using LinkedIn for, the last, let's say, maybe, a third of my life, and or so, I don't know. I'm not really doing the math. But then you've got people who literally are very young,
Yeah.
who they grew up and LinkedIn was always
Was already
there.
there. Well, and
Um,
I think it's evolved too, because when I first came out, people were reluctant to have a profile because it was seen as the place you went to look for a job. So people were very reluctant to create a profile because they didn't want their boss to see that they had a profile because then it would tell the world that they're actively looking. And that's not the case anymore. Everybody has a LinkedIn profile.
I have to admit, I spend half my time on LinkedIn reading articles and
Yeah.
looking at my contemporary, my counterparts, looking at people who I respect, who I work with, who I want to see on a stage. Now take LinkedIn as their stage to talk
Yeah.
about the topics of the day, everything from, changes in laws and policies to coronavirus to innovation and science, and to have that opportunity to not only hear what they're saying, but also seeing how others are responding.
Responding, yeah.
It's part of that overall picture of networking, because you can also see how companies post and how
Hmm.
companies react. And
Hmm.
if I'm applying for a job, I might look at the company's social media presence to make
Yeah.
sure that I understand them as well.
Well, because you're definitely going to have people that write a comment, and it's always interesting to see the responses and or how engaged. I mean, is this just do you actually want to engage with your customers and potential employees, or is this just all marketing? I think that's really important too. A company that puts something out there and actually you see them engaging with people that have comments, maybe they're positive, maybe they're negative, and it's all about how the company responds. I think that speaks volumes to their culture and if you're going to be a good fit there.
Yeah,
I think there's so many benefits from it. You are always going to have people that are negative and you're always going to get a little bit of that. And that's okay. Again, you don't have to engage. You don't have to get nasty. I think the last thing you do is get into it. Just step away. You're entitled to your opinion. That's great. Have a great day. Walk
right,
away.
right.
It's good. It's almost a good. It's what happens in life. It's just online. Problem is, if you say something in person, it's gone. If you say it online, it's there forever and it can be screenshot, you can be reminded as we know. So you have to be very mindful. If you write something, I always say read it over a couple of times. If your gut is saying, maybe don't post it, maybe sleep on it. If you really truly feel it's important, post it the next day because you can't really take it down again. You can delete it, doesn't mean it's gone. So,
Sure. Well, and things move at such fast pace, and if we're not taking that opportunity to make sure, second check what we're posting is really on message with what we want to do or achieve, then we're missing out on an opportunity. But I think that things also move at such a fast pace that I know people that I can connect with on social media, but I never have the time to connect with them on the phone, or I rarely
hmm.
see them in person. And now, with so many people working remote and not able to go into to work as often as they used to, or not being able to go to conferences, and conferences have been canceled or postponed, or
Yeah.
people not wanting to travel. People are still engaging through these social media platforms, and they're
Hmm.
building new relationships. They're forming new ideas, finding new solutions, and I think that it's an exciting place to find momentum and inspiration.
Yeah. 100%. And, well said. And I think it leads nicely onto talking a little bit about networking, because it is one of the same. I mean, if you're having a conversation with somebody online, you're essentially networking. And, as you mentioned, more and more of that's gone online. Do you get questions from students and grads asking about networking events and that type of thing?
I ironically talked to, I think, three or four students within the last couple of weeks, and an interesting pattern emerged. They all brought up networking and then quickly followed it up with the idea that I'm such an introvert. I'm not outgoing. And they weren't really looking at social media like LinkedIn as a platform that even an introvert can build a network. And in all those cases, I connected them with a women in food profession LinkedIn group.
Yeah.
Um, and it's you don't have to be an extrovert to be able to benefit from um, the power of being part of a group, and having some
No.
members behind you that could be listening and suggesting and offering and connecting and building a bigger platform. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you're in Canada or US, whether you are in your early 20s or in your early 50s, it's a great leveling platform for networking when you look at
Hmm.
not just the in-person, sometimes expensive, sometimes time consuming, sometimes scary,
Yeah.
but also the social media options and opportunities for that networking. I know so many people that got a job this way. I know people
Yeah,
that found love and got married through social media. So
absolutely.
the opportunities are wide, but
Endless.
be engaged in network is going to help you in ways that you probably don't even think about
Yeah.
from time to time.
I would even add to that that I don't love public speaking, and in my position now, starting a company and trying to grow a company, I need to share with people the messaging of what FoodGrads is and what the company does. And typically that's done in front of a room of people, and that terrifies me. And then,
Mm.
I'm working with that and whatever. And I
I've
would
got another.
say,
Oh, I was going to say I've got a weird example. So my recent book. This sounds like a plug, but my recent book on food safety, past, present, and predictions. I actually used LinkedIn to try out a couple of passages, see what other people thought about them.
yeah,
Also to connect with people in terms of interviewing and reviewing some of my work.
yeah.
And so it's not solely a way to just be I'm networked to people or I found a job. It could even help you with larger projects you're working on to get more ideas and more
Opinions.
perspectives and
Yeah,
opinions.
absolutely, absolutely. And I was going to say, everyone's different. Everyone, fares differently in different situations. And one of the things I've learned from inviting students and grads to different events that I've been involved in is the questions over and over. Where do I park? Where do I pick up my ticket? It's things that you don't assume people are worried about, nervous about, that they actually are. And I think I'm the same. Those things go through my mind. Oh, am I going to get there on time? The commute, the parking situation. And then you add on top that layer of, then I'm going to meet people and, be on my game and maybe present something. I think this is a perfect time while people are doing more online networking, to really improve your skills there. And you don't have to fret about the commute or the parking. You just literally have to find a quiet spot in your home and get online. And I think that takes away a lot of the pressure for introverts as well. I completely sympathize, and I have said yes to much more in terms of opportunities to present and have these types of conversations than I ever think I would have done prior, because that stuff was going through my head, and I think it's a great time to really come out of yourself, and sign up for these network events. Sometimes you don't have to say anything even. You can just be there. You can just listen to what other people are saying. So if you're nervous, listen to what other people are saying, and you'll soon realize that you're the same as everyone. You've got the same questions. You've got the same knowledge and experience and skills, and you can do it too. But I think it's a great time to network more online.
Something you just said reminded me of a funny. Something you just said reminded me of a funny experience I had not too long ago. I was going to a conference where I was going to be speaking, and someone who I didn't know too well um, contacted me on LinkedIn and said that they saw that I was on the program for this conference, and they realized that they were connected to me, and um, they were asking me how does one network at a conference because they're going to go to this conference,
Hmm.
and I had to I thought about it for a minute and I realized it's just like you're doing right now. You reach out to someone, you say
Yeah,
hello, introduce yourself, and ask a question, and take it from there.
yeah,
But you're not doing it online. So I just thought it was funny that someone was networking and reaching out to ask me about online, to
yes.
ask me about networking and
Not
reaching out in
realizing they're
person.
actually doing it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. It might
It's
not be in
not.
a convention center,
Yeah,
but
it's all the labels of things, I think, and people get worked up with this networking. It's very stressful, and I got to do it right. And it's people talking to people. That's all it is. And I think I think actually online is giving a great opportunity. You've always got to find the lemonade from the lemons, I think. And right now is a tough time because we can't go out, and these conferences, these amazing conferences that we all look forward to, have been cancelled. But that's okay. We can make the best of online networking, and there's so many. You don't have to worry about cost, travel, all those things that would stop you potentially before. You can sign up and do it from the comfort of your living room.
yeah. Oh, great points. I think too, if you're always asking for help and you're never offering help, or if you're asking for
Mm,
advice and never offering advice, don't make it a one-way street. You
right,
know, offer an opinion, offer help, offer insight. Don't just ask for it online with social media.
right. It's true. Don't forget to check out the other 4 parts of this series. We hope you're enjoying and getting some value from our conversations. Also, don't forget to visit www.foodgrads.com and create your free profile today.
Consider exploring these resources.